Hello everyone, I welcome you all once again to my channel. This is Anjali, and since I was getting many of the comments regarding that we're stuck at a particular range of score in the GTs and you want to get it to 150 to 160 corrects, because that is a very safe range to go with and it ensures that you're going to get a seat of your choice, of your branch, of your dream college. So this video is basically about that, and let's dive into it. It is basically a multi-step procedure. So you have to identify basically where you are getting stuck into the process, and I'm going to help you how to deal with those things. And let's go on. So the first mistake that I've majorly seen happening is multiple revisions, the lack of multiple revisions. So what happens that people who start the preparation very late, like 6 months back or just 3 months back, and hoping for a very good rank, this becomes really difficult because like 2 to 3 revisions I don't think is enough to retain that basic source of information. And for that I think I personally believe कि जब मैंने 6 से 7 revisions कर लिए थे उसके बाद I felt yeah, like I'm now confident enough that I know the source of information. Even if I don't remember the exact lines, I can apply this information very well into the MCQs. And this is the first mistake that happens. And along with that, there's a particular revision strategy to follow it. And what all things do we have to include in our 20th notebook? Either you're making a 20th notebook or you're making a PYQ set of book or a PDF thing, anything that you wish to. That has to be very strategic enough. And since there's lack of time, I'll be covering it in my next video for sure. Very soon, I guess in the next week only, I'll cover it off. Now the second mistake that I've seen that since multiple revisions नहीं हुआ है तो तुम MCQ देने नहीं बैठोगे. Like multiple MCQ practice is really important in today's era because it's not about the basic source of information right now. It's about the application of that information into the question. Now majorly if you see the ANI pattern as well as the NEET PG pattern, out of the 100 questions you'll be having just 30 to 40%. I think that is also a very big number to say. It's just 20 to 30% of the questions which are actually directly from your notes jahan tumhe you don't have to apply your brains. It's just completely just looking at the question and getting the answers correct, right? And for that you need multiple revisions. But the next set of things, though, 60 to 70% of the questions where you need application of that thing, the intercorrelation between the subjects, which is very famous right now, कि तुम्हें मल्टीपल सब्जेक्ट्स के सोर्सेज ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन पता होना चाहिए, उनको कोरिलेट करके तुम्हें उस क्लिनिकल सिनेरियो में अप्लाई करना होता है. So for that, you need multiple MCQ practice because there's a way that MCQs are been framed. You have to identify the buzzwords. Now, buzzword application, your eyes go directly to that buzzword is when you have solved multiple MCQs. And that is the second mistake that hinders your score from, standing out to 150 to 160 correct, because that needs a precision enough. Right, तो तुम्हें multiple MCQ practice करना है. And eventually I say that the day when you start your practice, the day when you feel that yes, I am getting into the preparation, from that day itself you need to solve MCQs. Right? Now the third mistake that is seen is not giving GTs at all. The people wait for the day ki when I'll be completed the syllabus like thrice, 4 times, 5 times, I'll start doing GTs. No, you don't have to do that way. Eventually, abhi bhi jo unke 3 mahine mein NEET PG examination hai, there are many. Eventually, my friends are there, जिन्होंने सिर्फ 6 to 7 GTs दिए. That's not enough for a competitive examination where so many people are appearing. Like you have to have, basically 15 to 30 GTs at least in your hand so that you have a basic idea about the thing, right? Now, in 3 months' time, definitely you can't do it, but at least you need to get adhere to the kind of time bound MCQs that you have to give, right? तुम्हारे पास टाइम लिमिट होती है और उतने में तुम्हें एमसीक्यू सॉल्व करना है, विच जीटी मेक्स यू अंडरस्टैंड. नॉट गिविंग जीटीज आउट ऑफ द फोमो दैट 80-90 करेक्ट होंगे एंड देन मेरा कॉन्फिडेंस गिर जाएगा. देखो वैसे भी फिर स्टक एट 80-90 क्वेश्चंस, GTs will give you a better edge at least. It will boost your confidence more. It will help you retain your confidence for that period of time, retain your attention span for that period of time, and you should give GTs. This is the third mistake which is making you stagnant. तो महीने में एक बार GT दे रहे हो तो फिर कैसे पॉसिबल है कि तुम्हारे GT scores improve हो जाएंगे. Now the fourth major mistake that I have repeatedly seen is, and eventually मैंने comments में भी बहुत सारे लोगों को देखा, there was some person who told me कि like ma'am, I'm thinking about like every 2 to 3 days I'll give the GTs and do the analysis and then we'll be doing the revision. So I think I basically don't support that kind of practice well, because giving GTs that frequently wouldn't give you the time for analysis of the GTs. And secondly, you have to simultaneously revise the content of information as well And that is also important because that is the retention process that you have to keep it for a long period of time until the examinations are over, right? So giving frequent GTs doesn't serve that purpose to me particularly. And I feel ki analysis of GT is more important than giving frequent GTs like every 2 to 3 days. Because I have seen many of my friends, and eventually when I talked to some of the juniors and my co-mates, and they were all like कि हम GTs रिवाइज ही नहीं करते, हम GTs को एनालाइज ही नहीं करते हैं, we just give frequent GTs. And that was the major drawback that I was going through even when I was in my final year. I used to give GTs, I was getting good marks, and did not used to look at those questions which are actually getting wrong. And repeatedly used to do the same mistakes that was hampering my increase in the number of questions and the marks I used to get, right? So analysis of the GT becomes very important. It is not the giving of the GT is the time bound process, but analyzing your mistakes simultaneously. Now the major question that comes after it is, ma'am, analyzing the GT is taking like 2 to 3 days diligently going through all the questions, all the explanations. How can we reduce that time? Because obviously baat hai, it's only just 3 months left. You have to do the revision, which is very important, and simultaneously have to do GTs and MCQs, and analyzing each of them becomes really crucial. तो तुम इसमें क्या कर सकते हो, which is my go to strategy as well. I used to do कि जो wrong questions are, that would be the first which I'll be looking at, because that is the question which I knew nothing about. Skipped questions, the second most important thing for me कि हाँ भाई ये नहीं questions थे, and I need to know the approach, how it was done, and if I could have been able to guess that answer, that is also really important, right? The third what I used to do is guess. Now I have given Maro ka GT, Cerebellum ka GT, and Prepladder ka GT. These all three platforms have this guess wala option, and it is very important at this particular juncture itself. क्योंकि तुम गेस पे करेक्ट कर दोगे, गेस पे टिक कर दोगे, इफ इट्स गेस करेक्ट और गेस रॉन्ग व्हाटसोएवर इट बी, दैट यू कैन जस्ट टिक इट ऑफ एंड तुम्हें वो क्वेश्चंस का पैनल दिख जाएगा. And I usually used to do this guess wala thing to those questions even when I feel ki 95% I'm sure ki this is the answer, but 5% somehow I feel that the second option could be the answer. So when you're in that kind of dilemma, you have to mark that question. And mostly I used to have like out of 200 questions, I would be having 80 to 90 questions to review. And that used to drastically reduce the amount of time that was required to analyze the GT. And this is what I want you all to apply to your practice as well, that you can segregate into this customized thing so that you don't have to go through each and every question. Now secondly, when you're doing this also, it also needs a bit of revision into itself. कि जब फॉर एग्जाम्पल व्हाट आई यूज्ड टू डू, आई यूज्ड टू मेक अ कॉपी आउट ऑफ इट कि ठीक है ये क्वेश्चंस मेरे गलत हुए, ये स्किप किए थे और ये मेरे गेस करेक्ट हुए थे, एंड आई डोंट नो द लॉजिक बिहाइंड इट, गलती से करेक्ट हो गए थे. तो नाउ आई यूज्ड टू मेक अ कॉपी, एंड दिस जीटी कॉपी इज नॉट समथिंग दैट इज हैंडी एंड इज इन हार्ड कॉपी. आई यूज्ड टू मेक अ पीडीएफ आउट ऑफ इट. और जैसे ही मैंने पीडीएफ बना ली, आई यूज्ड टू मार्क इट डाउन द लाइन्स कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर ये पूरा क्वेश्चन है एंड आई एम नोइंग कि यही 2 से 3 लाइन है जो मुझे नहीं आ रहे हैं, बाकी सब तो मुझे आते हैं. So why reading those other lines? I'm not going to get that much amount of time when I'm revisiting these questions, right? So what I used to do कि ये जो पर्टिकुलर लाइन है, इफ आई एम नॉट नोइंग दिस, आई यूज टू मार्क इट डाउन विद माई जो भी पेन है आपके टैब एंड एक्सेट्रा, वहाँ पे मार्क डाउन कर दो, एंड द नेक्स्ट टाइम व्हेन यू कम बैक यू जस्ट हैव टू रीड दोस पार्ट्स. इवेंचुअली कुछ क्वेश्चंस में ऐसा होगा कि सिर्फ टेबल्स जो होंगे, जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल म्यूकोपॉलीसेकेरिडोसिस है, स्फिंगोलिपिडोसिस है, या फिर सर्जरी में यू गेट टेबल्स, क्लासिफिकेशंस एंड ऑल एंड स्टफ्स. सो जस्ट टेक पिक्चर ऑफ दैट ओनली, लाइक सर्वाइकल कैंसर, endometrial cancer management है, so you know that you have tables for it, that is very well taught in the classes. So just get the table ka screenshot and keep it up, and when you're going through the questions you'll see those tables and you're done with it, right? So many a times you get stuck in that kind of questions as well. So this was my go-to strategy when I was actually making my GT copy in the soft version of it, right? So this is the way how you reduce your time in analysis of the GT. And analysis of the MCQs, the multiple MCQ practice that you're going through, and the GTs that you're giving is very important part in the process, right? And even after that you are stuck, it means that तुमने PYQs पे ढंग से ध्यान नहीं दिया है. And specifically when I say that हम जब नीट पीजी के प्रोसेस में घुसते हैं, तो FMGE की questions भी plays a crucial role when you're going to give NEET PG. And PYQs has to be done diligently, be it any examination in the entire world. It plays a very crucial role into the process. I know you'll say that INE set has much more proportion of PYQs, but NEET also gives a damn importance to the PYQs because it's gonna help you with the kind of framing of the questions, the approach of the examination, the pattern the examiner is going is wanting us to know, this will all help you in leading to the answer to the question, right? And the next thing that I feel is that when you're going through all of these, तुम मेजरली कंटेंट पे ही ध्यान देने लगते हो। आई फील आउट ऑफ द 4 ऑप्शंस तुम्हें ये स्किल धीरे-धीरे डेवलप करनी होगी, दैट इवन इफ यू डोंट नो, इवन इफ यू नो जस्ट अ पार्ट ऑफ द लाइन ऑफ द क्वेश्चन, start guessing the answers, start going logically. Many a times you just give it up on new questions. It is not the way how you approach your questions. जब भी नए क्वेश्चंस आते देखो, some things are eponymous, you know nothing about. If a sign is asked from out of the world, you won't be able to know that. But if something that has been framed in a clinical manner which you could crack by putting up some amount of time into that, then do use your brain while giving your GTs. I've seen many a times that eponymous questions होंगे या फिर clinical questions होंगे, which is something which you know by looking at the question you'll feel that this is something out of the box, I'm not gonna attend. No, just please give it time to attend it. Main examination में भले तुम ऐसे questions छोड़ के आगे बढ़ जाना and then come back to it, but when given इस टाइम पे जब तुम एग्जामिनेशन दे रहे हो, आई वॉन्ट यू टू पे अटेंशन टू दोज काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चन एज वेल, बिकॉज दे आर इंपॉर्टेंट. हर क्वेश्चन एग्जाम में सेम नहीं आएगा, क्वेश्चन अलग अलग होंगे. यू नीड टू पे अटेंशन टू दोज क्वेश्चन, यू नीड टू टैकल दिस क्वेश्चन अभी ही, सो दैट at that particular point of time you have this kind of inbuilt thinking into you that yeah, this was the way I did it and this is how I approach such questions when I'm stuck at these points, right? The next thing that is figurative when we are going through this process is the inbuilt capacity of, you know, tackling these MCQs. And this comes with lot of practice. You know, people generally tend to ask me, ma'am, कि सब कुछ कर रहे हैं, I'm not able to retain the stuff, I am giving multiple MCQs, I am giving multiple GTs, I'm doing everything, still I'm getting stuck. It is because you are not properly giving your input into the process. I feel so because there's nothing so different strategy. ऐसा नहीं कि हमारे टॉपर्स की नोट्स में कुछ अलग से खजाना होता है. It is just the same. If you're going through your Marrow notes, I have been through the same Marrow notes. Is that I have been through it multiple times. I have been through multiple amount of MCQs. I have done so many MCQs, and that inbuilds the qualities. And when I was giving my MCQs, when I'm doing my MCQs, I'm actively doing it so that I get some knowledge out of it. It is not just for giving the sake of giving it कि मैम ने बोला 50 MCQs हर रोज करें तो बस 50 कर दे रहा है. You have to apply your brains in analyzing the question that how was it done? Am I able to figure out that buzzword in that fraction of second, in the fraction of time that I'm given? And am I able to input my knowledge into it? Because the application of knowledge is very important in this process. I think I've covered most of the aspect where I felt that this is the place and this is the step where people usually get stuck. And I hope that it helps you. And even if after this you feel that there's something which I've not talked about, do let me know in the comments and I'll surely answer that. And my next video is definitely going to be this revision strategy video because I feel that people really don't know how to approach the revision. I think multiple revisions is more important than a single good revision, even if you have a span of 3 months. Because the more the synaptic conditioning, the more is the long term potentiation. So take care, goodbye, all the very best.